Hey everyone, it's Desiree, and I am here with Spellbinders, and we are going to create a birthday card using their clear stamp of the month for April. Now, this is one of their recent club kits of the months that are available. What I am really enjoying, excuse me, is all of the club kits for the most part are interactive with each other. So if you are somebody that has multiple subscriptions and you're looking to add another, then you have that ability. It's another way to stretch your products out, which I think is really cool. So here's a piece of just white cardstock so that you can see it. Now you can see this beautifully matches the Glimmer kit of the month for April. Now remember, we have these beautiful borders. So this border here and this one you used with your Glimmer along with the sentiments. And then these two here are dies that will cut along that image to give you all kinds of different borders or edging, whichever you wanted to do. So we're going to do a lot of stamping, and we're going to use these two to cut these images out. Similar to the card, and I will make sure that it's linked at the end of this video, of the card that I made using just the Glimmer kit, but just with more stamping, and I'm going to layer some of these and so forth. So let's get started. Now I've taken care of getting my paper prepped. So this is a white piece of cardstock cut to 4 and 5 1/4. This piece of gray is cut to 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, which is a standard A2 size card base. And for this one, I'm going to have a landscape card base, and I've chosen a color to go with this, and it's going to be a top folding. So again, this is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 as well, and it will still be a top folding for me. Usually, if it's a portrait, it would be a side folding. So I'm going to set this off to the side, and I'm just going to work with these two first. Now, I'm going to work on my white cardstock first, and I'm going to get out my stamp positioning tool. And I am going to set my panel in here, and I'm going to pull out the branches. I was very intrigued by these branches, and I'm going to do a little bit of a different, usually you can go like this. I kind of want to take this on a different way. And I'm going to place that just like that. Maybe I'm going to place it like that. But I just wanted to have a different angle on the piece. So that's where I want that placed. Pick it up, making sure my cardstock's back in place. And I'm going to use my Desiree K inks. This one is Warm Cocoa. So this, of course, is for the branches. I'm going to ink that up. Just follow that, pressing down. And I think that's good with that one. Clean off my stamp. And I'm going to keep this piece in my stamp positioning tool because I've got a cushion going on here, but I'm not going to use the positioning tool. Now, a piece of foam would be fine. A piece of fun foam would work for this. I am finding when you have a cushion underneath, it gives you a better impression, and I don't have to do Hercules press because that's what I do when I stamp. I really, for some reason, I think I've got to, and you don't have to do that. You know, let's have some fun. Yay. So I'm going to grab the first base stamp, and I'm going to use a light color, and that is going to be C-Class by Desiree K. And you can see that when you place this down on your branches, you're actually it lines up with each of these full segments. So these two branches here, these two branches here. So I'm just going to stamp this all the way up, and then I will let my inks dry in between, and I will explain why. So I'm just going to push that down and lift up, and I'm going to do this all across. So you just want to make sure that you come down a little bit. Now again, if we are off in our stamping, that's not a problem. Oh my goodness, there's no stress. We keep going, we keep creating, because again, it doesn't matter how it looks. It's going to be beautiful. And again, guys, we are creating art. You are taking an item and creating something with it. And that is what art is all about. So don't stress, because if you're stressing, you're not having fun. Enjoy this. Enjoy the different things and find ways to stretch what's in your stash to get those ideas. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to clean this off, and I'm going to use my hand, and I'm going to grab some Post-its, because I just want that top image, and I'm going to use my Post-its to cover everything else up. These are strip Post-its, so I'm just using the top portion. I'm going to cover that. Press that down, and I just want to ink that up. Make sure I've got ink on that. Make sure we remove these, because, ask me how I know. Just saying, and I'll be able to stamp that last image just right on the top, just to finish that line. Okay, let me get those out of my way. Yes, I flung them. Clean off my stamp, and we'll put this back on. Now, as I said, I'm going to let this dry, because I'm going to stamp something on top of that color. Now, you could leave it just as is if you wanted to, but I do find that, and I think it was, I forget who said it, it was probably Jennifer McGuire, that, you know, like when you have those layering stamps, it's best to let your layers dry in between, because if the paper is somewhat damp, the inks will bleed just a little bit. So I am going to just let this dry, and we'll be right back. Okay, we are back. I did force the drying, and you can see, maybe if I lift this up, I didn't wait until the brown was dry, and it just faded just a little bit. But again, that's okay. I'm bringing this out just in case you're seeing that and you're like, what am I doing wrong? You're not doing anything wrong. And again, that bleeding adds to the effect of being handmade. Again, I know I've said this before and I make people giggle. We are not Hallmark people. Again, the concept of handmade is a wonderful thing. And those little imperfections, or happy accidents is what I like to call them, proves that it's handmade and makes it even more unique. So keep that in mind. Okay, I'm done my speech. You guys know me. I love to do my speeches, so I'm done now. All right, so I'm now going to grab my next one. I'm going to condition it like I did there with my finger. You can also condition it with clear ink. And I'm going to lightly, and I want a scratch piece of paper, which of course I can't find. Paper, really? Okay, so I'm going to use those because this is really dark. And I don't want it to overpower. So I'm going to do a second generation stamp, and I'm going to go right over what I've already stamped. And it's just going to give a little bit of a dimensional effect. I'm not worried about being perfect. I just want that shadow to go across. And it's just giving it a hint of some darkness there. And we're going to keep on going. And then we're going to do our last ones. Now remember, we've got that top one, so I want to clean off my stamp, and I'm not going to worry about doing any masking here because I just need that top one. Take some of that off and just stamp right in there. So again, don't need to be perfect. Again, if we are stressing, it's not fun. All right, so there is our image. So we've got that beautiful floral just going up and around. All right, so now I'm going to move this out of my way. So now what I want to do, I'm going to move my stamp out of my way. I will be grabbing the birthday stamp out of there. Let me move these because I'll get ink all over the place. All right, so let me get my scratch pad for right now. You could even use something like this to stamp on, but you know, again, it is kind of hard, foamy. I've pulled out one of my Distress Inks, Tumbled Glass, and I just want to come along very lightly along the top just to give it some color. Not much. I don't want to go crazy. I'm starting on the pad, and then I'm coming onto the paper, and then I'm coming in. Again, I don't want this too strong, but I want it to be visible. So just a little bit. All right. So let's move that. Now I'm going to pull in one of my dies. And the die that I'm going to pull in for this is actually the straight edge. And I'm going to line this up. So this is always all kinds of fun. And you know what? I want to see. I think I need to go this way. That's better. Yeah. And that's where I want it. And I'm just going to pull in some washi tape. Move quickly because I always tend to move my dies as I'm trying to tape them in place. And I am going to take this to my die cutting machine and we'll be right back. Okay, and that is what our piece looks like. All right, now I need this, and I'm going to grab my gray. So we need this in place so that we know where to place the sentiment. And I'm going to heat emboss the sentiment. And I want that to go on the curve. Now I'm going to bend this just a little bit just to take away that bendiness to it. And I am going to grab the stamp positioner. Matter of fact, no, I am going to grab this here. So I'm going to place this down, and I just want to uncurve that just a little bit. I want to try to match the curve a little bit more of that bend. And that is what exactly I want there. So now I'm going to keep that there, and I'm going to put just something heavy there. Now, again, it's not too heavy, but I don't want this to move because I do want to prep this with my anti-static tool. And of course, I just kicked that out of place. It's okay. We'll put that in place. There we go. Something simple. I'm going to come in with my clear ink. And I'm going to stamp that right there. I know I have an impression. That's the beauty of clear ink. It changes the color of your cardstock. And I'm going to come in with my white embossing powder. This embossing powder is by Michael's. I get it from my local craft store. And it is called Snow. And I think it is a great white. It's vibrant. It covers. I struggle with embossing powders and the coverage to make them look solid. I know, you can do it multiple times or anything like that, but I still struggle. Okay, we'll be right back because nobody needs to hear the of the heat gun. And we are back, and that is the image that I get. I just think I get super coverage with that stuff. Now I'm going to come in with my scallop die. Now, before I showed you how to keep this in place, if you don't have a stamp positioning tool. Now, if you do, you can utilize that. Again, not everybody has this piece of equipment, but you can utilize this to hold these pieces in place so that you know, okay, this is approximately where I want this to be. I can get a piece of washi tape, tape that down, and then I can lift this up, get that out of my way, and then move this piece out of my way. And I have something on that. I'm not sure what I did, but who cares? Okay, we're good. So now I can grab and put another piece there, and we will go die cut this as well. Okay, so now we have our pieces. So this is going to sit right on top of here. And you know what? And then this is going to sit right on top of here. So you can see we've got these great layers. So I'm going to grab my glue. And I'm going to get that glued in place. Making sure I keep my border. There we go. And this, I am going to prop this up. And I'm going to use my double-sided foam tape that I just, love to use because it drives me crazy. Let me get that out of my way because now I'm just going to start moving all kinds of things. And we'll snip. This is, very inexpensive double-sided foam tape, but I'll be very honest with you, the release paper is horrible. It's very sticky. I'm challenged with it. I think you notice I said me. I'm challenged with it. So I am just using this up. If you're looking for something on a price point, great, but it's not user-friendly. All right. So now, what we want to do, see, I sit here, and of course, while I'm on camera, it works beautifully. So, okay, see, aha. So if you move slow, it may work. If not, you will have challenges with it. Aren't you glad you came to a video and you watched me struggle with double-sided foam tape. Just saying. I could just edit this out, but what fun would that be? Okay, so if I speed that part up a little bit, it'll go quicker for you. It'll look normal. So now I'm just going to set this down. Put that down on my card base. And I'm going to do some trimming because I am crooked onto my card base, which is not a problem. So I'm going to cut this side. So now I'm even there. And I'm just going to cut down my card base, which is fine because we can do that. Unless there are measurement police out there. It's not a problem. And there you go. Only you and I know about that. So you can add some gems through this, or just keep it like this. And I am going to add some gems. So I grabbed some of the Iridescent by Studio Katya. And I'm just going to put some in the larger flowers. And just have fun with them. And here we'll have fun with that top one. I'm going to grab my wax pencil. And we'll just set those down. I think the gems, they really do add a lot. I know, I skipped one. It's all good. Oh my. Okay, so we will be right back so that you do not have to watch me struggle and have to flip all of the gems over. Oh, maybe not. Okay, we can use different sizes. Why not? Add a little bit of difference going on here. Whoops. And that's how that's starting to look. So we'll be right back and I'll show you what the finished card looks like. Okay, and here is our card that we have completed, featuring the Spellbinders Clear Stamp of the Month kit for April. And I do hope you enjoyed this. It's got some great borders, some great sentiments that match those borders. And again, it does coordinate with other kits for April as well. So as always, I'll have all the links down below to Spellbinders. That includes more inspiration using their kits for April, their shop, of course, and also the link to where their club subscriptions are located so that you can read more on them. If you have any questions, make sure you leave those down below and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. As I always say, continue to smile, continue to enjoy, continue to learn. Always try. Don't say no. It's like when we were kids. No, I don't want spinach. How do you know if you don't try it? So I hear my grandmother and my mother saying that to me. So give what you want to a try, or maybe there's something in your stash that you can use. But always remember what's most important, and I'll always say this. Always be creative. Till next time, guys. Take care.